PM's live up in Bendigo now too. He's been looking at the Bushmaster facility there that's making the vehicles that are going off to help Ukraine ward off Russian attacks. Let's have a bit of a listen in.
He's particularly proud of what happens right here at this facility, producing world-class manufacturing in the form of particularly the Bushmasters, but also Hawkeyes. Bushmasters that have produced more than 1,000 here. The facility here employs 300 people in good, well-paid, secure jobs. And Bushmasters are playing a role not just here in Australia in defending the Australian Defence Force personnel along with Hawkeyes. They're playing a role around the world now. When I visited Kyiv and met with President Zelensky, he requested additional Bushmasters because he identified the provision of Bushmasters as being critical to supporting the Ukrainian defence personnel who are defending their country against the illegal invasion of Russia. We have committed to providing 90 Bushmasters to Ukraine, and they're on the ground, making a difference each and every day to the defence of that nation, which of course is a struggle not just for the people of Ukraine, but is a struggle for the rule of law internationally and for the rights of sovereign nation-states to continue to exist with secure boundaries. So I'm very pleased to be here today, and it's a proud moment to meet with the workforce. I thank them for the welcome, and I say to them in talking with them that there's that sense of pride. We met the Nankervises, the two generations here, working side by side. One of them has been here for over 20 years, and the other, of course, is a young apprentice. There's more than 10 apprentices will come into this facility during this year, and that's the resurgence that we're seeing in Australian skills and training. We need to make more things here. We need to have more sovereign capability here. It's one of the key elements of the election campaign that I fought last year, was a future made in Australia. And with our National Reconstruction Fund, with our support for 180,000 fee-free TAFE places, with our support for Australian industry and manufacturing, we're delivering on the commitments that we made.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. It's fantastic to be here today with the Prime Minister in Bendigo, and it's great to be here with Lisa Chesters, our wonderful member for Bendigo in the Federal Parliament. Lisa does such a great job representing this community in Canberra. Lisa and I are both from regional Victoria, from regional Australia, and we both understand that regional Australia has never had a better friend in the office of the Prime Minister than Anthony Albanese. The Prime Minister is a former Minister for Regional Development in this country. He knows how important regional Australia is for the future of our nation, but really importantly, he understands how significant manufacturing is to drive regional cities in our country, and we see a perfect example of that here at Tallis in Bendigo. This is really one of the jewels in the crown of Australian defence industry, and this is a showcase of Australian defence industry export. We are seeing Bushmasters made here exported to the world. And right now we've just toured the line, and there are a number of Bushmasters there which are destined for New Zealand as an example of that. Bushmasters have been saving the lives of Australian servicemen and women deployed in places like Afghanistan for many, many years now. So we understand how important both the Bushmasters and the Hawkeye are. They're very much at the centre of Australia's army. But what we've all seen over the course of the last year with the appalling events that have played out in Ukraine is just how significant this platform can be in saving lives in a conflict such as that. And I know that every worker here has a sense of intense pride in what they are doing in making vehicles which are saving lives, and in this instance saving the lives of Ukrainian soldiers, and we will very much as a nation be standing with Ukraine for as long as it takes, and the Bushmasters are very central to that. Great to be here with our Prime Minister, and as I say, everyone here should have a great sense of pride for what they do.
I've already done a press conference today, but happy to take a couple of questions on this. Richard. Sure.
Deputy Prime Minister, so just confirm if you're heading overseas next week, what the purpose of the trip is. Does it involve talks on Ukraine?
Well, it's all this is in the public domain, but both myself and Penny Wong will be travelling overseas next week to both Paris and in terms of the 2+2 with France, and then the United Kingdom with the 2+2 AUKMIN with the UK. Both of those are meetings which happen on an annual basis, and they really are the heart of our bilateral relationship with both France and the United Kingdom. So we'll be discussing the full gamut of issues that are there on the plate of both our countries. And yes, Ukraine is obviously an issue that will be front and centre and what we'll be talking about next week.
Prime Minister, do you think Djokovic's father needs to be kicked out of the country for supporting Putin?
Look, I have seen some commentary about this. I'll make this point, that Australia stands with the people of Ukraine. That's Australia's position. And Australia is unequivocal in our support for the rule of international law, and we don't want to see any support given to the Russian invasion of Ukraine that is having a devastating impact on the people of Ukraine.
Can I ask on the Bushmasters, what, so 90 were committed and have 90 actually, you said they were on the ground and they've already been built, they're over there and they're in current...
No, we don't comment on operational detail. There's a war going on in Ukraine, so we don't provide figures of how many are on the ground and all of that. I say that 90 will have been committed and 90 will be delivered, and we know that those 90 will all make an enormous difference, but we don't comment about the specific figures of what and how many for obvious reasons.
Can I say the schedule of delivery is on track?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then what was the schedule?
Well, we don't comment. There's a war going on, and when there's a war going on, what you don't say is what your side is doing specifically at any moment, and I'm sure you would understand that.
But there's also, I think, a push from some in the government or MPs to deliver more, up to 180, I think. Is that something that may be still under consideration?
Yeah, look, we have committed not just 90 Bushmasters, but as well we have committed and delivered, and it's been bipartisan, I must say that, for the former government, and my government has continued to increase the support. We've provided other support, including some cyber assistance, but we've also providing support of training of Ukrainian defence personnel. And the Australian Defence Force personnel who travelled to the United Kingdom will be training Ukrainian soldiers and they did a lot of prep work in Northern Australia prior to their departure, and they go with the goodwill of the Australian government and I believe the Australian people, who overwhelmingly stand with the people of Ukraine. Thanks very much. Thank you.
That's Anthony Albanese there in Bendigo in that news conference. He just took a couple of questions. Not surprising, had an earlier news conference that was a lot longer, of course, that we brought you.